This is something that I feel like every church runs into every single Sunday morning.
That makes it so much easier to have a difficult conversation, or you want to bring an instruction moment.
I think transitions are like horrifically neglected when it comes to thinking about these things in advance. Three-way high five.
Hey, I wanted to talk about things that can go wrong on a Sunday morning and things we can do to avoid these things. So I brought in some experts with me, David from Sunday Sounds, Matt from Loop Community, and we're just going to talk about things that we can do better and that we can improve on and tools we can use to make that happen.
Yeah.
So, David, why don't you start us off with some something you see first thing Sunday morning?
Yeah, I would like to own the title of expert in things that can go wrong. I think one of the main things that pops up all the time, people write into Sunday Sounds, is that they don't feel like they have enough time in their Sunday morning before that 9 a.m. or whenever that countdown starts. They just struggle to fit in all that they need to fit in. And this is oftentimes, I think, because worship leaders are wearing lots of hats. Worship tech directors are wearing lots of hats. You're making sure the band is actually showing up, last minute changes to the charts, dealing with the text message you just got from the pastor asking you to do something extra. And so I think that can just cause all sorts of stress. It creates this pressure cooker environment, right? So it's really like a big picture problem, but I think there are lots of like small improvements you can make so that it just feels like slightly less pressure, over time. So, doing things like making sure there's a clear order of service that everybody that needs to be able to speak to it can speak to. Like, just make sure you have your plan in planning and that you're not putting that together on Saturday. Try and get that done in advance. It's just like, what can you do to lower the pressure on everybody so that it feels like that 60 minutes is actually 60 minutes and not 6 minutes?
Yeah.
You mentioned the order of service, getting that out ahead of time to the team, but then even sending them a message, just saying, hey, I put the order together, songs are up there with the versions that we're going to do, the arrangements we're going to do, so people have time to prepare and feel confident showing up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a simple thing, but you just have to intentionally say, like, I'm not willing to not do this simple thing. I must do it to make sure everybody has the chance to succeed.
I would say that one thing that I feel like I experience a lot when I visit a church is the lack of efficient sound check. What ends up happening is I feel like everyone shows up, you plug in your instruments, and then they kind of just like, all right, let's run the first song. But then people can't hear themselves. They don't know where in their Aviom, whatever their instrument is. The volumes aren't right. The sound team also is like trying to figure out why are we not hearing it. And I think that there's ways to make soundcheck more efficient. And one of the best ways I've seen is literally taking the time to go just real quick, line by line, instrument by instrument. All right, kick drum first, and let the kick drum just play for like a minute.
Right.
That gives the sound team the opportunity to find where the kick drum is and adjust the gain. But it also gives everybody in the band the opportunity to adjust the kick drum in your mix.
Right.
And then you do that for every instrument. Snare, all right, full kit, all right, bass, acoustic guitar, and you do it one by one. And then, last but not least, don't forget the tracks.
Right.
I feel like almost every time the tracks are forgotten about, the click and tracks, and you have to sound check those to make sure that they sound right.
It's huge. I mean, I think so many times during that little bit of time, the goal is we've got to get the band playing these songs as fast as possible so that they have maximum rehearsal time. But it's kind of counterintuitive if you slow down enough to make sure everyone's ready to play music and that they can actually hear each other, you will end up with more net rehearsal time than if you just say, let's just blast into the first song and clean it up as we go.
Everything goes smoother if you get the sound check right.
Yep. You have to be intentional to give your audio engineer authority over those first 5 to 10 minutes of sound check so that they can say to your band, and they know that they need to respect it, please stop playing or please pay attention to me and do what I ask you to do. And then they need to know that at some point they need to hand it back to the stage and say like, hey, I'm ready to go. You guys are ready to go. And it just helps define those roles and responsibilities.
One thing I just mentioned too is found really helpful is to have a system in place for using some type of hand gesture, say I need more of this, less of this. If you don't have an app, like a self-controlled system, where people can't control their monitors themselves. So you can just the audio person can visually see, okay, this person needs more, this person needs less, this person needs more as you go through each instrument.
Yeah.
Instead of having to take audible requests at the end. So it really saves a lot of time.
Let's talk about how important it is for your sound team to have proper training on mixing. This is a difficult one, but it's one of those things where you can have like the best band in the world who has nailing every part, singing everything perfectly, but if it's actually not getting mixed properly, it doesn't even really matter. Like, because it could still end up sounding bad. So how do we give our sound teams more, how do we help them be more prepared for the set that we're giving them?
I think you have to focus on incremental improvements that are based in real world context. If you're the worship leader and you have this sense or the feeling that it's not as good as it could be, I think it's important to acknowledge that you might not be hearing what they're hearing unless you actually go out there and hear it. So, a lot of modern digital consoles can record what you do, and then you can play it back later as like a virtual sound check, it's called. So that can be like a tangible way to hear exactly what they were hearing. But if that's not possible, you might need to say, let's run a midweek rehearsal, or just like make sure we leave a little extra time during our Sunday morning sound check. And I'm just gonna step out into the congregation, walk around a little bit, and just hear what my audio engineer is hearing. It's hard to give critical feedback, though it might be accurate, if your audio engineer thinks that you're not having the same experience that they're having.
Yeah, right. I remember someone saying too that you could, if you have a midweek rehearsal, you could actually multi-track that. And then later, even when the band's all gone, they could just practice mixing the multi-track from the rehearsal.
Yeah. There's a lot that can be done with modern technology now on most digital consoles. It's not fun to say, but go read the user manual. Like, look up what your console can do, talk with your audio engineer a little bit about it. And there's probably things that you can figure out in 20 or 30 minutes of effort that could provide a huge learning opportunity for the people on your team.
Yeah, I think we should jump to something that's in the WorshipTools world, and it's lyrics. This is something that I feel like every church runs into every single Sunday morning, and it's that moment where you're in rehearsal and you're singing the song, and the lyrics, you can tell that the lyric person is totally confused and totally lost, has no idea where you're going. And maybe it's because you didn't properly, actually prepare and tell them what the arrangement was gonna be. Or maybe it's because you made a last minute decision of, actually, we're gonna do double bridges at the end. So then you have to stop the song and then explain to the lyric person, hey, we're doing a couple bridges there. How do we solve that from happening? And also the errors that happen in the middle of the service, that's just like human error. I feel like, people just get distracted and they forget to hit the next arrow.
Yeah.
But there's things we could do right that would prepare to solve that problem.
Well, with WorshipTools, when you are putting together your set in planning, that will sync right away to presenters. So you don't have to go ahead and you don't have to pre-prepare lyrics like you would if you had separate different platforms to do everything. So that can really save not only time, but it can make sure everything is accurate. Same with how it syncs with the Charts app. You know that things are going to be the same, and the arrangements are going to match, and it's just going to be one-to-one.
If every band member has the iPad in front of them running the Charts app, and then let's just say in the middle of sound check, you're like, hey, we're going to add a closing song. You could literally add that song to the Charts app set list, and it would update on presenter, right?
Right. Lyrics would be there, and if you decide, hey, we're going to do this in a different key. Worship leader just has to change the key, and
that's cool.
It'll update everywhere. I think, but as far as when you're advancing the lyrics or the operator's going through it in the middle of the service, rehearsing and playing through the full arrangement of the song, how you're going to do it, I think is important. Not just hitting certain sections but playing through the whole song so they can really pay attention. And in presenter, actually making the flow, saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. So then during the service, they can just press the space bar and they don't have to hunt for the right lyrics or the right chorus. They can just know that, hey, this is the order we're going to do it.
I've also seen some churches that won't make their presentation person participate in soundcheck. They'll just come right before the service starts. And if that's you in your church, like, no shame to you, but they're an important piece of the overall experience. Like, they're a part of the band, making sure the congregation knows what they're being invited to participate in.
They're a worship leader. I mean, they literally are helping the whole congregation worship
they're
along.
Prompting the entire congregation, putting the words in front of their eyes, but in their mouths,
Yeah.
right? So figure out what you need to do, the conversations you need to have to explain why you're asking them to come an hour early and say, hey, we're doing this so that the congregation is not distracted.
Yeah.
But that can be such a huge piece if you're not already doing that.
Yeah. And then I think also just taking the time midweek before Sunday morning to actually decide what arrangement you're going to do a song. Like, don't wait until that sound check on Sunday morning. Because everybody, like you said, it's a pressure cooker. Everybody's stressed out. And if you're not clear on how the song's going to go,
Right.
the lyric person for sure isn't going to be clear.
Yeah.
And then your congregation's not clear. And then that kind of defeats the whole purpose of congregational worship.
Right.
So take time ahead of time to prepare, pick the song arrangement, even if you get it like 95% of the way there.
Yeah.
Then you could still make a change, like throwing in a bridge, but you don't want to be changing the whole arrangement Sunday morning.
Well, running a good presentation isn't just about being able to read, right?
Yeah.
It's about being able to anticipate. So I think it's important that you tell your lyrics operator, here's how you can access the audio files in advance. Like, go into the plan and listen to the songs a couple of times. Get comfortable with, like Holy Forever is a great example. That chorus starts almost a full bar before the band actually starts playing the chorus.
Yeah.
And you want people to see those lyrics before they need to sing them, not after the worship leader is halfway through the line. If you don't know the song, you're not going to catch that during the 60 minutes of sound check. You're going to forget. But if you just spend a little bit of time in, saying to that lyric operator, hey, just let this play in the background for you this week. Just keep those songs fresh in your mind. It goes a huge way towards improving the quality of that triggering.
That's a great point. They should know the song.
Absolutely. How about when it comes to transitioning between songs in a service? Is that something that you rehearse ahead of time, or is it something you flow in the moment? What do you recommend, David?
I think transitions are like horrifically neglected when it comes to thinking about these things in advance. It's understandable, right? When you're putting your plan together, you're thinking, what are the moments? What are the songs? And then what are we doing who's doing offering? Who's giving the sermon? Are we doing a song at the end? So you have, your 8 service items or whatever, and then you think, great, the service is planned.
Yeah.
But if you think about it like, a movie or a book, there's transitions between every scene, and it's really important. Is it an abrupt transition? Are we fading into the next element? Is it high energy? Is it low energy? We need to do this kind of guidance for our congregation when it comes to the elements of our service. Now, this makes some sense musically, right? We want to pick keys that transition well together or purposely leave some space so that those transitions aren't jarring. But when I most often see it fall apart is when you're coming from out of one type of thing into another type of thing, out of the band leading worship into announcements, out of the sermon back into worship. Those moments, people know that there's a transition happening. It's not just from one song to a next. It's like a bigger transition than that. And most churches just don't think about them.
Yeah.
So I think it is important to at least consider what you will do and communicate that to your band. But I'm a big advocate for just actually put the transition on the service plan. Like, just say transition and then leave a note on what you want to do during that transition.
Like piano player, or there's a meet and greet.
Yeah, exactly. Piano keep playing, like whatever that moment needs to be. Just one note can make all the difference.
Yeah. Now, between songs, a lot of that can be pre-programmed and thought about ahead of time using the Prime Multitrack app.
Yeah.
So when you set up your songs, you can set up any sort of transitions like crossfades, start and end times to really make sure the song portion of worship flows smoothly.
Right. I mean, you can do that with tempos, with keys, and then with Loop Connect, you could make sure that that automatically flows to the Charts app, that it flows to the Sunday Keys app, that all of that can just happen in a really intentional way. And it doesn't take loads of time to program that kind of smooth transition.
It's one of the huge benefits of using tracks is that without tracks, every time you do the transition, it could be very different. And who knows what's going to happen. But if you do pre-program those transitions and those crossfades, it's going to be then like perfect every single time as long as people are following the tracks.
Right.
But it's just something that you can avoid if you just put a little bit more thought and effort into it.
Yeah, just a few minutes of, I mean, that's to me the through line for all of this stuff is we're talking about a few minutes of conversation.
It's thinking about it.
A few minutes of thought, just like that little pause and reflect. What can I improve? That is just one incremental layer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really takes the pressure off the worship leader or the drummer, whoever's starting the next song,
Yeah.
to have to find a tempo or remember a tempo or fake a tempo, to just be able to hear that click and know, hey, I can start this song confidently.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's talk about another thing that happens a lot at churches, and that is you're in rehearsal, sound check, and last minute, you're like, this person asks for the key to be changed into a different key, and you don't have that chart ready. And so someone's scrambling, running to a printer somewhere in the building to print a chart in the right key, and you lose a lot of time doing that.
You can solve that with the WorshipTools Charts app. You can easily change the key by just picking it from the menu. So if you want to change the key of a song last minute, worship leader just picks the new key. Everyone's chart updates right away with the new key, and everyone has it in the key that they need. So yeah, no need to print them. No need to run to a printer.
You save some paper too.
Yeah.
And then with Loop Connect, we can actually have Prime be the source of truth for those keys.
Yeah.
And even feed through to the stage display, the presenter.
Yeah.
All the lyrics, all the charts, follow the Prime Multitrack app.
Yeah. Becomes very easy to change keys.
Yeah. Well, guys, good thing we invented Loop Connect, huh?
Three-way high five.
So as we're sharing all these problems and solutions, it can be easy to get lost in the apps or the technology or the stress of getting everything put together. But it's important to remember that, yeah, we're all people and we're here to lead people in worship. And so it's important to make those connections with people and so they can connect with Christ. So
And sometimes worship leaders and tech teams just hide out in the green room and then never interact with anybody at the church.
I mean, we're in a big green room right now.
Yeah, look at this massive.
I feel so comfortable right now. Like, where are the snacks?
Where are my M&Ms? Yeah,
But it's true.
But we have to get out and remember, we're there to serve the body of Christ and build community, and people matter more than the music.
And like, we get it. You know, if you only have an hour to get ready before service, it's you want to make the most of that time. You might only have 5 minutes between finishing sound check and getting back on stage. But even if you just have one little interaction here and there where you have a moment to pastor or dive into a relationship, I think that can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
And as people in leadership, we also have this opportunity to make sure we're connecting with the people on our teams as people, like as we pastor them. You might not have loads of time to meet all the first-time visitors every Sunday.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you greet your bassist, ask them how they are.
Yeah.
Before you're just like, great, get line checking.
Yeah.
And that makes it so much easier to, if you want to have a difficult conversation or you want to bring a instruction moment, or, you know, it just makes it so much easier when you have that relationship.
Right.
Your worship leadership will be so much more impactful because leading worship starts way before you even get on the stage. And like the more you've developed relationships with the actual people in your church, like I remember I used to love standing at the door and greeting people as they come in and then going up to lead worship, because I feel like people were more willing to follow me and my leadership when they felt like they knew me and they felt like there was some sort of relationship, and that it wasn't just like, okay, he's just up there singing some songs. Who is this guy? But they're like, they know my name and they know that I know their name. And they're way more willing to follow leadership that way. So I think that's so important, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks guys for joining me today in this conversation. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment below on worship problems that you run into at your church and maybe even some solutions that you found.